Hello everyone, I am Deep Patel from LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to learn some important topics of basic mechanical engineering. Today's topics are thermodynamic properties, process, path and cycle, and third is the laws of thermodynamics. So let us start with the thermodynamic properties. So first of all, what is the meaning of thermodynamic property? To define a system, we need certain parameters through which we can understand the system. That parameters are the properties. Like if we assume that this room is the thermodynamic system. So to define this classroom, we need volume of this classroom, temperature and what is the pressure. Then we can define one thermodynamic system as a classroom. Okay. So that parameters temperature, pressure, volume, density are the thermodynamics properties. Now, thermodynamics properties are divided into the two types. First is the intensive property and second is the extensive property. So, what is the meaning of intensive property? Intensive properties means the property which does not depends on mass of the system. The example of intensive properties are pressure, temperature and velocity. So, if we understand this, if this room is the thermodynamic system and if we measure the temperature of this classroom, then the temperature is not depends on the what amount of the mass is contained in the system. Okay, so if we increase some mass or some decrease some mass, then the temperature of this classroom will not vary. Okay, so the temperature will not influence by the mass of the system. So we can say that temperature is the intensive property. Next is the extensive property. Now, extensive property means the properties which depends on the mass of the system. Okay, and the example of the extensive properties are the mass, volume and energy. So we can clearly understand that energy depends on the mass. Okay, so if we increase the mass in the system, then automatically energy of the system will increase. So we can say that energy depends on the mass. Next, we can say that all the specific properties are the intensive properties, or if we divide extensive property by mass, then it becomes the intensive property or the specific property. Like if we divide volume by mass, then it becomes the specific volume, and specific volume is the intensive property, but only the total volume of the system is the extensive property. Same way, enthalpy is the extensive property, but if we divide enthalpy by mass, then it becomes the specific enthalpy, then specific enthalpy is the intensive property. Okay, so if we understand that if we divide extensive property by the mass, then it becomes the intensive property. Okay, and we can say that finally all the specific properties are the intensive property. Okay, now our next topic is the process, path and cycle. So first we will discuss about the process. Now what is the meaning of process? The change of state is called process. For the state, all the properties will remain same. Okay, so if we understand this diagram, that at state number 1 there are three properties: pressure, volume and temperature. So for state number 1, three properties pressure, volume and temperature will remain same for state number 1. Now if any kind of heat transfer or work transfer is happen, then what will happen? The property will be changed. Pressure change, volume change or temperature change will be occur. Or if the properties will be changed, then the state will be changed. Okay, so we can say that from here you can see here state is changed. The pressure is P2, volume is V2 and temperature is T2. Okay, so if the change of state is occurs, then we can say that it is the process. Now next is the path. What is the meaning of path? Path means a series of equilibrium state through which a system passes during the process, then it is called path of process. So Here you can see from the PV diagram that this red color line is showing the path. This is the number 1 is our initial state and number 2 is our final state. So from we can say that if any system passes from initial state to the final state, then a series of equilibrium states through which it will be passed, and that series of equilibrium state through which system pass during the process is called path. So by understanding the path, we can understand which type of processes occurs from initial state to the final state, whether it is constant pressure process, whether it is constant volume process, whether it is constant temperature process, we can understand. Okay, so this is what all about the path. Now third is the cycle. Now what is the meaning of cycle? If the initial state is identical with the final state, then it is called cycle. Okay, so we can understand this by this PV diagram, that here it is the state number 1, it is our initial state. Okay, then one process is occurs and the system is reached at the state number 2. Okay, and for reaching state number 1 to state number 2, we take one path, that is called path number 1. Okay, finally what happens, from state number 2 again we reach at the state number 1. Okay, and for reaching from state number 2 to state number 1, we take second path, that is the path number 2. Okay, so we can say that our initial state and the final state is the state number 1. Then the cycle is completed. Okay, so finally we can say that if the initial state and the final state is identical or the same, then we can say that the cycle is completed. Okay, so from this PV diagram you can understand all three terms: process, path and cycle. From change of state, that is state number 1 to state number 2, that is the process. To reach at state number 1 to state number 2, we take one path, that is a path number 1 or path number 2, and finally the state number 1 is the initial state and the final state is identical, then we can say it is the cycle. So from one diagram you can understand path, process and cycle. Okay, our next topic is the laws of the thermodynamics. So there are total 4 laws of the thermodynamics. In our syllabus we will study only 3 laws. First is the zeroth law, first law and second law. Okay, so let us understand one by one what is the meaning of zeroth law, first law and second law. So in zeroth law, the statement of the zeroth law is, if body A and body B is in thermal equilibrium with body C, then we can say that automatically body A is in thermal equilibrium with body B. Okay, so from this diagram you can easily understand body A and body C is in thermal equilibrium with each other, means the temperature of body A and temperature of body C will be equal. Okay, so here we can write TA equals to TC. Similarly, the body B and body C are in thermal equilibrium, so the temperature of body B and body C, that is the TB and TC, okay, is equal. So we can write here that TB equals to TC. So body A is in thermal equilibrium with body C, body B is in thermal equilibrium with body C. So automatically we can say that body A and body B will be in thermal equilibrium with each other, whether they are in physical contact or not. Okay, so automatically we can say that from zeroth law that TA, temperature of body A, will be equals to the temperature of body B. Okay, so if we take one example of the thermometer, what happens? We measure the temperature of our body with the help of thermometer. So if we take our body as a system 1, okay, and the thermometer is the system 2 and mercury is a system 3. So mercury and thermometer are in the thermal equilibrium with each other, and our body and the glass of the thermometer is in thermal equilibrium with each other. So automatically by reading the level of mercury we can understand what is the temperature of our body, because from the zeroth law we can say that our body and mercury will be in thermal equilibrium with each other, whether they are in the physical contact or not. Okay, so with the help of zeroth law we can understand that by reading the level of mercury we can understand what is the temperature of our body. Okay, so this is what all about the zeroth law. Now second is the first law. Okay, So what is the first law? First law states that the energy neither created nor destroyed, but it changes or it can convert from one form to the another form. Okay. So we can say that the energy in the whole universe is remains constant. Okay, we cannot create or we cannot destroy the amount of energy. So if we take one example, if we take one thermodynamic system, in thermodynamic system, it some amount of heat is supplied and some amount of work is going out from the system, then we can write change in total energy of the system is equals to net energy transfer as a heat and work. So change in the total energy of system is indicated by the delta E. So delta E is equals to Q minus W. Okay, that is the change in the total energy. Now the total energy of the system is made by the various energies like intermolecular energy, kinetic energy and the potential energy. But if we talk about the closed system. So in closed system, kinetic energy and the potential energy is remains zero. So finally we can say that the change in total energy delta E is equals to change in the intermolecular energy, that is delta U. So delta E is equals to delta U. And if we talk about the cyclic process, in cyclic process what happens? The initial state and the final state is same. So we can say that there will be no change in any kind of total energy. So delta E in the case of cyclic process is 0. So we can write that delta E equals to 0. So finally you can write first law for the cyclic process as Q minus W is equals to 0. Okay. So this is what all about the first law of thermodynamics. Now then the second law of thermodynamics. What is the meaning of second law? The second law given by the two scientists. First is the Kelvin and Planck and second is the Clausius. Okay, so let us understand first Kelvin Planck statement for the second law. What the Kelvin Planck says, that it is impossible to make an engine which is having 100% efficiency, or we can say that it is impossible to make an engine which operates on the cycle and produce net work by exchanging heat with only single reservoir. Okay, so let us understand it by this diagram. Okay, so here you can say that first is the source. Source means the high temperature body which can provide heat. That E is the engine and sink is the low temperature body. So here you can understand that from the high temperature body the heat is transferred to the engine. Engine will use this heat and it will produce some work. But if we take one amount, that the amount of heat supply is 100 kilojoule, okay, and the amount of work done is 60 kilojoule, then the 40 kilojoule heat will always remove at the low temperature body. Okay, so we can say that the amount of work will never be equals to the amount of heat supply. So you cannot get 100% work from this heat supply. Okay, so this is what all about the Kelvin Planck statement. Okay, now the second is the Clausius statement. What is the meaning of Clausius statement? Clausius said that it is impossible to make a cyclic device which transfer heat from low temperature body to the high temperature body without any kind of external work input. Or we can say that it is impossible to transfer heat from low temperature body to the high temperature body itself. Okay, so if we take one example of the refrigerator, in the refrigerator what happens? The heat is supplied from the body of the or inside cabin of the refrigerator to the outside atmosphere. So the cabin of the refrigerator is about 3 to 5 degrees Celsius and our atmosphere is about 20 degrees Celsius. So always from 3 to 5 degrees Celsius it is supplied from 3 to 5 to 20 degrees Celsius, but it cannot be automatically transferred from low temperature to high temperature. To do that, we have to supply some electrical work. If we do not supply electrical work, then heat cannot itself flow from low temperature to the high temperature. So this is the simple meaning of the Clausius statement. Also you can see from this diagram that this is the cold body, or we can say that this is the cabin of refrigerator, and this is the hot body, or hot body we can say that it is the atmosphere. So if we want to transfer heat from cold body to the hot body, then it cannot be automatically transferred, or we have to supply some amount of electrical work to the refrigerator. So this is the simple meaning of the Clausius statement. Okay, so this is what all about the zeroth law, first law and second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so in this lecture we have discussed three important topics: thermodynamics properties, process, path and cycle, and laws of the thermodynamics. So this is what all about today's lecture. Thank you for watching my video.